Welcome to the Choir Conductor podcast. Each episode features a conversation with people in the choir or music education profession. I am your host, Zach Thompson. Let's start the show. My guest today is Eddie Hong. Eddie is the Lake Placid Middle School and High School Choir Director in Lake Placid, Florida. He is also a member of the Festival Singers of Florida Choir. Eddie, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we are both sitting here in the middle of the Harmony Workshop, and I kind of sprung this on you last minute, so thank you for doing this.
Oh, absolutely. This is really neat. I've never heard of a teacher doing something like this. So
Yeah, so there's like 2 or 3 other ones, but I mean, it's such a small market for choir conductor podcasts, and really, I just do this to get to know people and to learn a little bit about it.
That's great. Yeah.
Can you talk about what you are currently do for a living?
Okay. So again, I'm the chorus teacher at Lake Placid Middle and High School. I live in Lake Placid, Florida. Should I talk about where I was studying?
Yeah, go for it.
I initially graduated from Thompson University in Philadelphia with my BM in music ed, and this summer I'm going to be finishing up my master's from Florida State University.
Great.
Through their summer master's program.
Nice. And are you originally from Philadelphia?
About an hour outside. Yes,
okay,
from Pennsylvania. Suburb of Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So I was born in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I have a lot of family that lives there. I have a cousin lives like outside of Exton.
Okay, yeah.
And
nice.
So like a lot when we go up to Philadelphia and then the Poconos for the summer often. So that's pretty nice.
My sister's actually a music teacher in Media, which is right a suburb of Philadelphia as well.
Yeah,
That's funny. I didn't know you were born in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from Pennsylvania that come down to Florida.
Yeah. Not so much for teaching, but they do gravitate towards here, which is interesting.
Was it the weather that brought you down here?
It was honestly the job. The principal who initially hired me. It was all over the phone. We didn't have any in person. I didn't come down here for an interview or anything. And they didn't have a chorus program before I got here.
Oh, wow.
So it was interesting to get the opportunity to build one from the ground up and kind of make whatever I wanted of it without having any expectations or footsteps to follow in. So that was a big incentive.
Can you talk about the challenges of starting a brand new program and maybe some of the benefits?
Sure. The biggest thing I guess I faced was a level of apathy. Students not really knowing what to expect in a community who hasn't had a chorus in 7 or 8 years. Not really being familiar with the expectation and what we necessarily do and what we strive for. So we're kind of changing the culture, the mindset of the school and in the community as well, trying to get kids out and singing as much as we can. And that was the biggest thing, trying to get families and students on board. As far as the middle school, this is my 3rd year at the middle school, and they're starting to understand it. They're really becoming invested in the program and really supporting it. The high school, hopefully as we cycle through some of these students and families, we start to have that turnover as well. This is only my 2nd year at the high school. So as we build the feeder program, hopefully it builds the high school as well.
Yeah.
But again, some of the benefits is I can basically do whatever I want.
Right.
We had our 3rd annual fundraiser for the middle school in the fall. It was a supper serenade. We served dinner, kids performed some solos and small group stuff. And then last year, I just decided to add a 2nd fundraiser for the middle school and the high school, and it was just a pops concert. We sang Broadway pop songs and things like that, and people really enjoyed it. So
that's cool.
Just trial by error, trial by fire, I guess. And
sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, I mean for a choir program, so much of it is based off of tradition, and I mean, it's so hard to kind of explain what a choir is and what a choir does to people that haven't done it before. It's something you have to experience.
Right.
Or else you're just like, oh, what do you mean? You just go sing songs?
Right.
No, yes, but not really. Like, there's more to it. And,
right.
But once you get that your foot in the door, and then people start to appreciate it, then a couple of years down the road, your program's going to grow exponentially.
Right.
Once you have, this is what we do here.
Right.
And that's nice that you can go in and say, this is what I want us to do here. So you don't have to necessarily go in, well, I don't like this part, I want to fix it, but this is my first year, so I have to keep doing this.
Right.
That's nice, you can just go in. I was in a similar situation. My first teaching job was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I started a brand new middle school choir.
Yeah, okay. So you know exactly what...
Exactly, the challenges that can come from that.
Yes, but even just the second and third year, kids and families are coming in asking, are we doing this again? Can we do this pop concert or this fundraiser again? And these traditions are slowly starting to come to fruition, which is really... That's great. Really neat.
Yeah, and I hope that even this harmony workshop that we're doing, they'll get to see the greater community. I mean, we have all three high schools from Highlands County, and they get to come together and sing together, which is great.
Absolutely. We're glad to be here.
Yeah. Did you have a musical upbringing?
Yeah, I was exposed to a lot. I'm the youngest of three, and both of my sisters played instruments growing up. So my oldest played violin, and my middle sister played clarinet. And I started violin in 3rd grade, clarinet in 4th grade, basically just following what they did. And am I talking about?
You're
okay. And yeah, I studied. I was mainly an instrumentalist growing up. Played in youth orchestras, festivals, and things like that. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that I decided on a whim to audition for a festival. And how it works in Pennsylvania, it's different than Florida. They have districts, and then at districts you re-audition for regions, and then you re-audition for states. It's not an all-state audition. So I just on a whim decided to audition for districts and did well. And
nice.
And that's where kind of started.
That was your senior year?
My junior year, yes. And then after that, I'm like, you know what, maybe I could. I took like a month of voice lessons to learn my one Italian song for college auditions and learn my one art song, and those were the two I went around to colleges singing. While everyone else had like their full scores and octavos, I had my one song from the 24 Italian Song and Organ book. Yeah. And and it worked for me.
That's great. I mean, I did almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But mine was, I joined choir my senior year because I wanted a better part in the musical.
Nice.
And so then I did the districts and then went on to regional. And then, same thing. It took like a couple months of voice lessons to do the Italian art song and the English, and then just go on. And then
were you in Pennsylvania when you did that?
Yeah.
What district and region were you in?
I don't remember what the number is, but it was... So, like, it's the Johnstown area, so it's south of Pittsburgh. Okay. And other side.
So you were born in Philadelphia and then went to the other side of the state?
Yeah. Okay. So, born in Philadelphia, but raised near Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah,
so...
Because I'm thinking, like, I think Exton was maybe in my region. It was close to me, but...
other side, but, I mean, very similar process, just other side of the state. That's really cool.
That's funny.
So you decided... After you went to districts, this is maybe what I want to do?
Yeah, it was either districts or regions my junior year. Dr. Kuyper from Penn State University.
I met him.
He was our guest conductor.
He's great.
And I loved him. And that was, I guess, kind of a changing moment that I never really thought of. My sister is, the middle sister, is a music teacher as well. Okay. And she attended Penn State as music ed and things like that, but instrumental track. And then when I just joined chorus, the district chorus or region chorus, whichever one he guest conducted, it kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, all right, this is something that people do. Apparently, it's not just you have to go and become a full-fledged performance musician. You can become a music ed major, which is really neat. And that was my first kind of foray into full choral conducting, and I really enjoyed it.
Is he? He's British?
Yeah, it's something like that. Some type of English.
I think we when I was student teaching for the high school, they went to Penn State for like 2 hours before they went adjudicated, and he just worked with them. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. I remember we called his daughter or son or something across in Europe, and he had the full choir sing happy birthday to them. And
That's
that was just
great.
really, it's just a random thing that I remember. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I mean, going from your high school program, which may or may not be good, when you go to districts, your mind is blown and open.
Right.
So you just haven't really experienced a room full of people your age that want to be there and that are singing at a high level.
Absolutely. My high school choir was a fine established program. It wasn't anything spectacular or anything like that. I think it was just because the arts were so supported in my school that a lot of the band, orchestra, chorus kids all were in all three. So musicianship levels were good in that regard. But as far as the chorus program itself, those who were just in chorus, I don't think got as well-rounded of a music education as they do down here in Florida. They have some really amazing things with these chorus programs now, which I would have never thought would be possible.
Yeah, Florida's, I mean, it's totally different from Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
But it's the things that they can do here, the opportunities they get are unbelievable.
Yeah, I think they're taking a lot of cues from Texas, and they're kind of leading the country as far as chorus and performing arts.
Yeah, I'm glad to be teaching in Florida.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite musical experience, either as a singer or director, or as an audience member? They don't have to be the same.
Favorite musical experience. One that immediately comes to mind was last year. I sing in a group called Festival Singers, and it's mostly music educators around Florida, most of which have some type of connection to FSU. The director is Kevin Fenton, who is one of the professors at Florida State. And last year we hosted a group from Nairobi, the Nairobi Chamber Chorus.
Okay.
And they did this whole Southeastern America tour, and then concluded in Orlando. And we had this big collaborative concert, and it was the first time they had a high school honor choir at our concert as well. And we sang the song Ukutula, which we ended with at this past year as well. And it was one of the most moving experiences, sharing that cultural exchange with so many people. And it was, just thinking about it, it was just really amazing. And it's kind of started this whole movement. They have something called A Voice for Peace, which he's reaching out to choirs from all over the world. He had, I can't even remember which grant it was, but to go over and share that culture experience between Western choral conducting and the types of music education they have over there in Africa. And they had on International Day of Peace this live broadcast of the Nairobi Chamber Chorus singing Ukutula, and we sang along with the live broadcast. We submitted recordings, and it was just kind of this musical movement of promoting peace and understanding and compassion through music. I thought that was really neat.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did the singers from, you said Nairobi?
Yes.
Did they speak English?
They did, yes. That was something I was super ignorant about, and I was so embarrassed because I thought, I heard Kenya, that's where they live, and I had all types of assumptions and preconceived notions which were absolutely false. And I went to Orlando. I'm like, how am I going to talk to them? I have to speak slowly. I'm sure they speak English, but they were fluent. And they were hysterical. They were cracking jokes, and just seeing them, they live in apartments comparable to what we have here.
Oh, wow.
They have tribes and things like that, but apparently it's more like they go and meet their tribes. They don't live with them, and they have their own lives. It's just normal. Yeah. Granted, we took them to Disney. They don't have anything quite that extravagant, but as far as their daily life, it's much more relatable than I initially expected. And I was embarrassed when I made those assumptions.
That's why I asked the question. I was assuming they wouldn't know any English and you know, like living a tribal life, but that's cool. That's unexpected, and that's really cool that people from opposite sides of the world can come together and sing a common goal.
Absolutely.
That's nice. Yeah, we took some students to the concert. in Orlando, and we got to see the festival singers, and I was very impressed. Really, really great.
Yeah, we're glad that you were able to come and be a part of it and send students like that. There was a big turnout of students, people from all over the state, which was really, really nice to see.
Yeah, it was great. So you're young, you're around my age, and normally I ask people what they give their 25-year-old self, but for you,
what would I tell myself right now?
I'm gonna say, what advice would you give your teenage self?
Gosh, I wasn't the best of students when I was in middle school, even transitioning into high school, academically, behaviorally, but I guess I would tell myself that you'll grow out of it. It was bad. I had some rough transitions growing up, just personally, and the awkwardness, the uncertainty, the lack of confidence is something that you'll grow into, and just trust the journey or path that you're on, and you'll end up where you're supposed to end up.
Yeah, you think that your whole life is in like high school, like this is it, and then you go on to college, you're like, what was the point of all that?
Right. Things just seemed a little heightened for some reason, and a little just too dramatic. But
but I guess that's high school.
Yeah. So I do understand when kids come in and they have these things that is kind of encompassing their life that they can't stop thinking about or worrying about. I do feel for them. Yeah,
that's good that you can remember back to how you felt and then be more sympathetic, because it's so easy now as an adult. You're like, what do you mean? Just get over it.
Yeah, life goes on. It's not
that easy when you're that age.
Right.
That's great advice. Some other different kind of questions. Do you have a favorite app?
I'm not the most technologically inclined, honestly.
Yeah.
The two I use the most, it's nerdy, but it's the one that's already on the phone, the voice recorder that comes preset, but I also have a keyboard piano app that I use during class to kind of get me away from the piano as much as I can, so I can walk around and be a little more free, and I'll just hit the starting pitch and try and be a little more open with them, because I'm not fortunate enough to have a grand piano like others in the county. I just have an upright that just kind of builds a wall or a barricade for me and the students. So I use it every now and then and try and get walking around the classroom as much as I can.
I've never even thought of that. That's a great idea.
It's a little rough on the voice. I do sing a lot more than I would behind the piano, but I think benefits of me getting to hear them and for them getting to hear a vocal model is better than just plunking out notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also built some musicianship. We've been trying to wean off of the piano for warm-up, so I'll sing the modulation, and they've been, knock on wood, pretty good with going through that. Every once in a while we'll have to stop and reset, but they're doing pretty well with that as well.
Nice, yeah. Getting them away from the piano, especially if you're going to do a cappella music.
Which we're still a developing choir. We're still growing again.
Yeah.
They've only been around for a whopping 3 years, but we're getting there to some more legitimate repertoire.
Oh, good. Yeah. What I had to do, or what I would do you have any kind of like digital pianos?
Unfortunately, no. That was something I was looking into, and
that's what I did whenever I started. So there's a site called Donors Choose.
Yes, I've heard of it.
So I set up one of those, and certain times you can get that the site will match every donation dollar for dollar up to $100.
Okay.
So if you find what I did, like in my office, there's the one that I used from the previous school that I taught. It's just a nice digital piano, but there's nothing that comes up so that you can sit there and you can see everybody. But I think it was $1,000, but I got enough people to donate up to the $500 level, and then it's matched.
Nice.
So that's one thing you could look into.
Is this podcast sponsored by Donors Choose?
Not yet.
Yeah, that was a great little plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In no way we are already sponsored by Donors Choose. However, if Donors Choose wants to send me an email and talk, I'd be willing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I did.
Nice.
That's something you could look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
because I would not want to teach.
Yeah.
With one of these.
Yes. And coming into a program again that had nothing, they didn't have anything in their budget either. Mm-hmm. So all that we have in our budget is what we've raised the past 3 years and what we could save.
Sure.
So expenditures like that kind of get put on the back burner as far as
I mean, there's so much unforeseen cost that you don't even think about. You just think, oh, this should be here.
Right.
But then when nothing, you have nothing. Every little thing. It's
right.
Do you have a favorite book? It can be any kind of book. It doesn't matter.
I don't read a whole lot.
Okay.
But one book that I started, I haven't finished yet, especially since the school started. Mm-hmm. But that I guess I'm in the midst of reading. I haven't touched it in a bit, but it's called The Last Lecture. It was one that my high school English teacher had recommended, and it was just one that it's always been in my mind, but never read it. But what it is, it's a former professor, I think from CMU, Carnegie Mellon.
Yep.
And they, I guess certain professors, when they get towards the end of their time here, they bring them back for a last lecture. And I think he was diagnosed with some form of cancer, and they invited him back for this speech. And it's basically him discussing his childhood dreams and expectations and things like that, and how his life progressed. It's basically just like a memoir that he gave in a lecture form, and it's really interesting. First of all, it's an interesting concept that they invite these professors who devoted their life to education and academia to come back and discuss their life and their journey. But it's an interesting read. I just haven't had a chance to really finish it.
Sure, yeah. I think I've heard of that, and I think some of them do like a video series that you can look up, but that is a really, I mean, if you ever wanted a student to pay attention, like, listen, this is the last time you're going to hear this man speak, ever.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you things that no other teacher is ever going to tell you, because he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Right.
There's no, well, I got to be here for the next thing, and the administration, I might not like what I'm about to say. He's going to tell you how it is.
Right.
And it's probably going to be, it's going to push some boundaries, and but I would love to sit in on one of those.
Oh, absolutely. And everybody has their own story to tell. And it's just interesting to read that someone is that open to share theirs.
Sure. Other than music, do you have any hobbies?
I guess other than music, I'm such a hypocrite. I try to stay fit. I try to go to the gym and at least stay healthy. So going to the gym, I guess, is a good outlet for me, getting some of that stress and just quiet time for me. But music basically is my hobby, because as I said, I was an instrumentalist. Singing kind of took over my life junior, senior year, and then through college, obviously. But occasionally I take out my violin and my clarinet, and we'll play through some of my old instrumental rep as well, just for fun. There's no reason to. It's just something that I enjoyed and was such a big part of my life. I want to keep up with.
Okay.
That as well.
Do you still play every now and then, or?
Yeah, every now, not performance-wise, but I'll just take out my old Mozart concerto, or
that's great.
Yeah, the Weber concertino or something like that.
Yeah,
and just pull it out and just play through it.
And you're the dive coach?
Yes, yeah. Last year, I'm the dive coach for Lake Placid High School as well. There's two of us. So what happened was last year when a student made it to regionals and states and things like that, the other dive coach couldn't make it, so they asked me to step in and help out. And then they asked me to come back this year because the other dive coach is a police officer. So he's only there about half the time. I'm there the other half. So basically, between the two of us, they have a dive coach.
Nice.
But yeah, I dove all through high school, USA diving. Went to some recruitment camps and things like that as well. But
that's cool.
Yeah, that was also a big part of my life.
Yeah, that's neat.
I forgot about that. That just ended diving. Diving season.
Yeah, I mean, we're so busy as musicians. There's you think, well, if I have free time, what am I supposed to do?
That's honestly going to free up tons of time. Every day after school, I was on the pool deck till 5:30, 6 o'clock.
My goodness.
So now I actually have time to get stuff done that I've been just neglecting.
Cool. Let's see. So, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Do you know, or could you talk about your upcoming program or programming for the next concert, or maybe even looking into the spring?
That is my biggest thing I need to work on is programming music. I've been, this year for the middle school is the first time I have my guys and girls separated. So I have 8th grade girls, 7th grade girls, 6th grade girls, and then the same for the guys. And finding repertoire that fits them is the trickiest thing. But I can't even, we just finished our fall concert, which was our fundraiser for the middle school. And it was a songs of travel type theme. Yeah. And I had a book, I can't remember, it was a Briley book. It was Travelers and Vagabonds or something like that. And it was a guy's book, and it was for guys changing voices. And
cool.
The guys basically sang directly out of that book. And that worked really well for them. I can't even think of specific repertoire. Honestly, the repertoire we're doing is simple repertoire. We're not doing anything too heavy, just because again we're developing choirs. But another thing as far as repertoire is trying to do a little more with revoicing, as well to accommodate some of the guys specifically who are either midst of changing or haven't changed, and trying to make it as accessible as we can for Johnny One Note who can sing middle C and not much higher and not much lower. So that's the biggest thing. Programming I need to work on.
Sure. I mean that's hard whenever you have a like a 7th grade boy who's an alto one day, and the next day he wakes up he's a bass 2. Yeah, and it's crazy. And then the next day they're back up in the cambiata. So it's interesting, but it's fun to maneuver and try and figure out what works for them. Sure. And it's exciting when they are excited and successful. Did you, when you came in, did you have a music library, or there's nothing?
They had, the library is old, and as far as I saw, the newest rep was from the mid-90s.
Okay.
So songs that would be certainly appropriate, but as far as the vocal ranges and the parts and things like that aren't quite accessible for us right now.
Sure.
And a lot of SAB music, which I've been trying to shy away from as well, because the baritone part I feel can be problematic for middle school, even though numbers wise it would work best. So yeah, we have a small library, about 1 cabinet full. Okay. But not much that I've really used.
Well, if you ever need to borrow anything for a semester, I mean, we have a big library, so feel free. You can take a look today, and then if you want to borrow anything, that's fine.
Thank you.
And then just give it back.
yeah.
Well, great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. No.
Is there anything else you wanted to add or talk about?
Not much I can think of. How's everything going for you?
I mean, it's pretty good. It's a lot of first year difficulties that you just don't think about. Like the music, I'm fine with the music. I'm fine. Like that's what I like. It's everything else.
There's a lot of stuff. I'm not sure when you graduate, but I'm in my 3rd year of teaching that they don't really tell you about when you're in an undergrad. A lot of paperwork, meetings, and just all the stuff that happens outside the classroom that I feel I've learned just as much teaching as I did while in that classroom, if not more.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, all the other requirements for the job that are kind of hidden.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the difference between work and a hobby. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if I had to be doing anything, I'd still be doing this. So
well, and I know I got to speak with some of the students in Orlando, and they love you. They're really happy with what you're doing here. So
good.
Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and well, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Choir Conductor podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and leave a review. Go to zackthompsonmusic.weebly.com for show notes, an archive of podcast episodes, and free compositions. Have a great week.